Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 worst video games of 2021.
Whoa, that's awesome!
We saw plenty of fantastic titles throughout 2021, but as with every year, there's a handful that ought to be avoided. Did you play any of these terrible games? Share your shame with us in the comments below. Promise we won't judge. Number 10. Taxi Chaos.
Taxi!
Crazy Taxi has been dormant for so long at this point that we're begging for someone to just straight up copy it. Well, in comes Taxi Chaos, a self-proclaimed spiritual successor from a non-Sega studio that was given the company's blessing. However, maybe that blessing was not so well deserved. Taxi Chaos admittedly nails the controls and even implements a neat boost mechanic when picking up passengers or pulling off quick turns, but you'll hear the same few lines of dialogue over and over and over again.
Honestly, in this city, sounds like this. Thank you.
Number 9. Pokemon Unite. A Pokemon MOBA sounds excellent on paper, and, like 12 Minutes, should have been easy and honest money to make. Only one problem. This was made by Tencent, the Chinese studio that has become infamous for its aggressive studio acquisitions and even more infamous for its egregious monetization practices. Just how bad has it gotten in Pokemon Unite? Well, roughly $40 for a fancy Absol bad. And right when you thought things couldn't get any worse, the ways you can earn premium currency are an absolute slog. The progression system is much, much worse with the grind. Guess it was too much to ask for a fair and honorable economy. Number 8. Destruction All-Stars. Back when we were assembling our top 10 worst games of 2021 so far, we marked Destruction All-Stars remarkably high. So why is it so low now? Well, surprisingly, the game has improved in its mechanics and controls. What hasn't been fixed, however, is the greedy business model. Again, why is the single-player stuff locked behind premium currency? Why are the campaigns bloated with monotonous game modes instead of letting us get in the groove of the main modes we see in the multiplayer component? Why are the lobbies mostly filled with bots that hardly even try to win? Oh yeah, because everyone left Destruction All-Stars in its burning scrapyard.
Oh, so you want to step up to this, eh?
Number 7. Arkham's Horror, Mother's Embrace.
Professor of astronomy is found dead in her mansion, and everything indicates that she's been the victim of a heinous murder.
Once more, another great idea has come and gone after falling on its face in the worst way possible. Arkham's Horror Mother's Embrace is a turn-based strategy RPG much in the same vein as XCOM and Empire of Sin, albeit an overly simplified one riddled with bugs and glitches. Even if it was polished up some more, there isn't much to engage with. The mysteries are anything but mysterious, as they're incredibly easy to solve, and the narrative in general fails to achieve the same interest as the board game it's adapted from. You're better off playing the Lovecraftian-themed games.
For madness begins when reality departs.
Number 6. Werewolf, the Apocalypse, Earthblood.
Confronted with stronger enemies, the Krynos will want to switch to the more powerful stance, which sacrifices agility for greater strength and resistance.
2 questions. Why hasn't anyone done a werewolf power fantasy type game, and how did Cyanide Studio mess it up this badly? We can certainly see some of the ideas at play here, but it's gone about in the worst ways. Even if the stealth wasn't broken and the gameplay wasn't so insanely tedious, the AI is busted beyond comprehension. What hurts even more about this is that Cyanide Studios has belted out some solid titles. Not blockbusters, but Call of Cthulhu was well made for what it was. So what happened here?
While in a frenzy, the Krynos has all the benefits of the other 2 stances, but can no longer use special abilities, and loses a certain amount of control of his combos.
Number 5. Crash Bandicoot on the Run. Oh look, it's time for our token pick for which crappy mobile game is the worst out of all the crappy mobile games. And for this year, it's Crash Bandicoot on the Run. Don't get us wrong, we'd play an endless runner centered on our macho marsupial too. But how in the ever-loving Wumpa hell did we get to material gathering and extensive cooldown timers? It's so manipulative and egregious with its monetization and cooldowns that it almost competes with EA's notorious Dungeon Keeper game. It may not be as horrendous as wait 72 hours for a wall to open, but wait a day to make a Wumpa flask isn't too enticing either.
I can show you how to have a good time. I'm that hard to forget. Yeah, I'm one of a kind.
Number 4. Harvest Moon, One World.
Harvest Moon, One World. Explore the different areas and villages of the world.
Is it really all that surprising to see Harvest Moon on yet another one of our worst whatever lists? Harvest Moon has been playing catch-up for the last decade or so, and witnessing it try to maintain the status quo has become somewhat embarrassing. Much like recent titles, One World does its damn hardest to replicate not what Harvest Moon did back in the day, but what Stardew Valley achieved back in 2015. You're trying to copy the very game you inspired, but you fail to evolve and keep up with your fanbase. All this goes without mentioning the bare-bones world, bland environments, and total lack of anything remotely interesting. We gotta stop kidding ourselves. Harvest Moon is dead.
Or even participate in festivals.
Number 3. Balan Wonderworld. Good God, where do we begin with Balan Wonderworld? We could spend ages talking about the awkward motion capture animation, the clearly rushed development, and the unbearably basic level design. The biggest problem, though, is the obscene lack of depth. Let us put it this way. On console, there are 6 buttons that do the exact same thing. Oh, and for some reason, jumping and using costume abilities are both tied to those same 6 buttons. It's such a baffling product of a game that we did an entire video about it over on Mojo Plays. Number 2. Popeye. There were a handful of cheap garbage bins that released on Switch this year, and of them all, Popeye was the one that had us asking, who is this for? A 3D remake of the 1982 arcade game, Popeye tasks you with collecting hearts or letters while avoiding Brutus. The difference here, though, is that the game is terrible on nearly every front. The music is annoyingly repetitive, the gameplay is a snore fest, and the animations do nothing to bring the personality we expect from the Sailor Man. Even if you were to sell this game at a few bucks as opposed to its $13 price tag, it'd still be overpriced.
Popeye, catch!
Before we get to our worst game of the year, here is a special dishonorable mention. Battlefield 2042. The franchise deserved a better return than this glitchy mess.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure to go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. eFootball 2022. Metal Gear Survive, Contra Rogue Corps, Pachinko machines. These are just some of the ways Konami has fallen from grace. And their newest entry? Pro Evolution Soccer. eFootball 2022. Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached new heights in godforsaken sports games with bugs and glitches galore. This is on WWE 2K20 levels of awful, and it is hilarious. Limbs clipping into bodies, wonky ball physics, random mouthing to nothing in particular. We were ready, man. Konami has been ready to come back with full force. On the contrary, they are not. And it certainly shows here. If the YouTube compilations weren't a bad sign already, Lionel Messi's face on the cover was a striking alarm. Poor guy.
And so clear that one side are so much better. The scoreline entirely justified.
In the mood for more awesome gaming content? Be sure to check out this video here on Mojo Plays. And don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.